What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, a fantastic afternoon, a fantastic pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasanabi broadcast coming to you live from rainy California, Los Angeles, folks. We are live and alive. And I hope all the boys, I hope all the girls, and I hope all the MBs are having a fantastic one, because today's a wonderful day. Finally, it's time.
The latest.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the day. The day is today. Donald Trump's big day. Okay? Let's put on our big boy hats and let's sit the fuck down. Let's sit our white asses down and listen. Donald Trump claimed that he was going to get arrested imminently last week on today. Okay? Now, Donald Trump has done this very same thing time and time again, where he has made it seem as though he is getting arrested or like has greatly exaggerated. Okay, he has greatly exaggerated what the federal government is trying to do to him or what any kind of fucking local law enforcement is doing to him. And unfortunately for us, it seems like this is yet another moment where he greatly exaggerated it, but he got the fucking hogs riled up a little bit. But not enough, it seems. Maybe not enough. Let's take a look at what happened.
Former President Donald Trump claimed that he's going to be arrested later today. And while there is no evidence that that is going to happen, there are signs that the Manhattan DA is wrapping up an investigation into Trump's involvement in a hush money payment. Aaron Katersky is at the courthouse in downtown Manhattan. Good morning, Aaron.
Michael, good morning to you. This was the day former President Trump said he would be arrested. And while that seems unlikely to happen, the possibility of a looming indictment has this city on alert for protest. Overnight, former President Trump releasing an insult-filled statement on social media about prosecutors and Stormy Daniels after earlier making an unverified claim he would be arrested today, stemming from an investigation into a hush payment to the porn actress weeks before the 2016 election. It's not the payment, but the way Trump accounted for it that could make him the first former president to face criminal charges. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been investigating this for years, but in recent weeks called in former aides Kellyanne Conway and Hope Hicks, along with Michael Cohen, once Trump's fixer, who has already served federal prison time for writing the check, he says, at Trump's direction.
The facts are the facts. The truth is the truth. And the truth will always rise.
Robert Costello, a lawyer who testified for Trump and said he once advised Cohen, called him unreliable.
And I've listened to Michael Cohen stand in front of the courthouse and say things that are directly contrary to what he said to us.
Republicans, including one of Trump's potential 2024 rivals, said charging him now smells of politics and took a shot at the district attorney.
They weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society.
On social media, Trump called for protest, and that has drawn the attention of law enforcement, seen here dropping metal barriers at court.
NYPD is doing their normal role of making sure that there's no inappropriate actions in the city.
Intelligence bulletins obtained by ABC News warn of a significant increase in threats and rhetoric.
I was still in the room. I just had to take my shoes off, but it was really hard to take my shoes off while also having the jacket on because the jacket is so fucking ill-fitting, unfortunately. But, I was just trying to get more comfortable. I'm still in the room. I'm watching all of it. But anyway, listen, there's a lot of things that these people have said thus far that I have to address here, okay? Now, Trump did, violate the law. Now, it might come across as like an insignificant portion of the law, and that's, I guess, up for debate. Okay? But, didn't motherfucking Michael Cohen go to prison for this? For his involvement in the matter? Why the fuck would Trump not also be hit with a RICO charge if Michael Cohen, who was operating for him, went to prison? That's oh, your hitman went to jail, but you as the leader of the entire thing, you should deserve no scrutiny whatsoever. It's the same fucking thing. I didn't hear these motherfuckers crying when Michael Cohen went to prison. Friend of the show, Michael Cohen, my boy. So I don't really understand. So the irony is people who are making it political are actually those on the right. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is they're literally openly stating like, no, you should, if you're Donald Trump, or if you are someone who is, a Republican at any given point in your life, you should be able to break the rules, violate the law, and do whatever the fuck you want and be able to get away with it. And it's actually political if you call us out. So what's up? What the fuck is up about that? What's going on there? No one told me Michael Cohen's... I've been on this podcast and I didn't know that was his fucking banger ass opening intro music. God damn, he's popping. All right, I got to pee.
Some of Trump's most ardent supporters are still willing to fight on his behalf. And we're told there are no specific threats, but the NYPD and the U.S. Secret Service have started talking about security in the event Trump is indicted. Robin?
Aaron, our thanks to you. We're going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abramson. A lot to unpack here. Yep. So now we have a witness that Trump wants to testify before the grand jury, Bob Costello.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
So he was there, and he made a statement after he testifies. And the most important thing that he says, basically, is Michael Cohen did this on his own. That's what Michael Cohen told me, in effect, is what he's saying. That this was all his idea. Okay, fair enough. There's no way, though, that you can bring this case without corroborating evidence of what Michael Cohen is saying. Everyone recognizes Michael Cohen is going to be somewhere between a difficult and a terrible witness because he's pled guilty, including to making false statements. So he's going to be a problematic witness. There's no way you don't have other evidence to back up what Michael Cohen is saying.
You also have Trump's current attorney and is also his former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, admitting that Trump knew about the payment. So what's the defense here?
The defense is that this was a nuisance lawsuit.
Wake up.
He paid the money.
Halt. You violated the law. Pay the fine or I will have to take matters into my own hands. That's what I would say to Donald Trump if I saw him right now. I'd say, sir, you have violated the law one too many times. Honest question, do you ever think about getting some ad money on Insta? 50K likes in an hour, some serious numbers? I don't even want to do that.
But he didn't know exactly how it was going to be classified. He didn't know it was going to be classified, they're going to say, as legal expenses, which is the misclassification, right? Is this idea that this was hush money, but instead they called it legal expenses. And they're going to say he didn't know that it was being registered as legal expenses. This was nothing to him. It was just in passing. He wasn't paying attention, et cetera. The prosecution, of course, will come forward and say, we have evidence that Donald Trump knew exactly what this was about.
And we'll see. We don't know if an indictment is going to happen or not. But you say of all the cases that Trump is facing, this one would not be in the top of your list.
This is the worst one. Of all the investigations out there, you've got Atlanta, which is about overturning the election there. You've got the federal one, which is about the mishandling of the classified documents and obstruction of justice. There's a lot of evidence in those cases. This is about something that happened 7 years ago. This is about something where the Fed's already investigated. This is definitely the weakest of the group.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So here's the reality of the situation. Okay. As far as things that hit Trump on, paying hush money and misclassifying it, paying hush money to a porn star after an act of sex work, and then misclassifying it as though it's actually, something different. Yeah, it's the lowest rung. I mean, it's one where he is like objectively in the wrong, and people have gone to jail for it, right? For sure. The reason that this happened so long ago is because Trump's attorney general said that you can't prosecute a sitting president. Yeah, a sitting president. Yes. So there is that reality as well, okay? There is obviously that reality as well. They blocked and pushed for as long as they did, successfully. Okay? But it is kind of like putting Capone down for tax fraud, right? Nabbing him for tax fraud. That's kind of where that it's the similar mentality, basically. Okay? However, there is a very real RICO case that's taking place in Georgia at the moment, and that is around the phone call that Donald Trump had, the very perfect phone call that he had, where he was trying to desperately. I said that earlier, stole my take, lol. Yeah, exactly. I hadn't thought these things before. I'm stealing it from you. But he was trying to desperately plead, I believe, Secretary of State at the time, to find some votes. And the reality is he has done this a lot. There's a lot to hit Trump on. Donald Trump's defenders and people that worked under him and under his administration routinely blocked and pushed any kind of fucking criminal investigation being conducted on him, even though he was violating the law all the time. They said he's the president. You can't do anything about it. This is political. Now that he's no longer the president, you could technically prosecute him for shit. And now they're saying, well, it's been 4 years. You didn't do anything back then. How dare you do something now, as though you weren't the reason why they didn't stop doing it. And then the other defense, that's my favorite defense, okay? My favorite defense is like, well, there's all these other things that he did that you didn't care about. It's like, bro, at this point, Donald Trump's like wanton corruption, they're using it like it's a defense mechanism. They're saying like, well, he did a lot of fucking illegal shit and you didn't talk about any of that. It's like, that's not a defense, dog. That's not how that works, brother. That's not. Like, what do you mean? You violate the fucking law, okay? And you get punished for it. That's how it works. That's how it works for the everyday man, the average Joe. That's how it should work for Donald Trump as well. Now, obviously, one of the things I got to talk about here is how much the right is, chirping in unison and going crazy, okay? But the other thing I got to talk about is how little the left has been pushing for this. Now, do I think personally that this is like trumped up charges? Do I think that this is personally the weakest thing that you could nab him on? Yeah, I do. But if I was a Democratic Party operative, I would never say that. If I was a Democratic Party operative, I would do exactly what Republicans do all the time. Why do we give you money? What the fuck is the purpose for us to vote for you? Not me, myself included, but people that do. Why? Is it so you can sit there and not fucking weaponize something like this against Donald Trump and the Republican Party? If I was a Democratic Party operative right now, what would I be doing? I'd be screaming from the mountaintops that Donald Trump is so far removed from the everyday common person that he thinks he can not only get away and ruin the rule of law despite running on the rule of law, claiming that he is doing this for the rule of law, that he very much believes that he's above the law, and the same Republican Party is defending that. Is it okay? If we were to, I would literally do focus groups and figure out exactly what is the most targeted, most effective messaging where you could just talk about the actual crime that Donald Trump did, the actual crime that Donald Trump engaged in, using campaign funds, utilizing campaign funds to pay hush money to a porn star, and ask individually in focus groups whether or not that is an appropriate thing to do, and figure out what the best, most effective way to propagandize against that position is, and then go off from the fucking mountaintops, constantly talking about wow, it sure seems like a lot of people are thinking that it's okay to take money from your campaign coffers and pay a porn star hush money to the tune of millions? You think that's appropriate? Sir, so much for the moral party, so much for family values. Explain to me where the family values are. I, for one, am shocked. This is disqualifying. I haven't heard any of this shit. What the fuck's going on? Maybe it's because Democrats are not doing that because they realize, just like we do, that, it wasn't $1 million. Sorry, it was 100,000. But maybe they're doing that, one, because they don't give a shit, or two, because they are they're worn out. They got nothing. They're fucking worn out. And they know that it's not going to do anything for him. All right, the Trump Clown Show. See key witness, scorch Trump's allies' testimony.
By former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. He hosts the Mea Culpa podcast. He's the author of...
Okay, now we got to play the Mea Culpa podcast banger before...
This is my mea culpa. Oh, baby, don't lie for me. If I tell you my story, don't cry for me. I did my time, that's fine by me. This is my...
Bro, what did he hire the fucking Sopranos intro music guy? Like, what the fuck's happening? It's crazy. I was on this podcast and I didn't even fucking know that this theme music was... I was on this podcast. For those of you who don't know, Michael Cohen is a former friend of the show, maybe current friend of the show. Who knows? I've been on his podcast.
This is Michael Cohen, and you're listening to a special broadcast of the Mea Culpa podcast. Well, folks, it's all finally happening. For the first time in our nation's history, an American president is about to go down for paying hush money to a porn star. So booyah!
None of this is a satire. This is real, bro. He literally is he is this guy. You'll hear him now.
Of the book, Revenge, How Donald Trump Weaponized the U.S. You have been in the news a lot. Thank you for being here on The Beat tonight.
It's always good to see you, Ari.
You went down there today. Did you testify?
I did not. I was asked to be a potential rebuttal witness. The prosecutors determined that my rebuttal was not necessary, and so I was released.
Not necessary today, according to them. Mr. Costello said several things. I'll start with a fairly narrow one.
He sure did. He said a lot of things today.
As a narrow matter, he asserted that he says you are testifying again on Wednesday. Is that true?
Okay, so very much like most of everything that came out of his mouth, he lacks for any sense of veracity here. There's no accuracy to his statement. I have not been asked to come back on Wednesday. And moreover, something that you would know as well. The prosecutors will not tell you if you are or you're not coming back. They just don't do that. They'll let you know at the last moment or at least the day before. So how he has this specific information just goes to show you he is exactly who he is. And that, of course, would be Rudy Giuliani's attorney.
Yeah, and in this process, and I've reminded viewers, there is a...
It's wild that, like, shit that the public should not know, Donald Trump is already aware of, and is, like, openly telling to the rest of the public. Like, these are... Like, a grand jury indictment is supposed to be, like, a private affair. Because you don't want the grand jury to, like, feel pressured from the motherfucking person that they're indicting. And that is precisely what Donald Trump did, by the way. Remember when everyone was saying, oh, I can't believe Derek Chauvin, who is definitely a murderer, by the way, and is in prison now, was being, you know, the jury was being pressured by the media constantly covering this high-profile case, right? Like, that's witness tampering. That's, destroying the fucking actual, the veracity of the court. That's destroying the fucking actual sanctity of the court, whatever, right? Meanwhile, this kind of like actual fucking jury tampering is completely allowed because it's the president doing it, and there's nothing you can do on that.
Possibility for someone who may be facing indictment to ask for people to go forward. So that may be the way that we're hearing from him. Do you know about any future testimony from yourself, him, or any other witnesses? Or at this point, you're just on standby?
Right. So again, I wouldn't know about anybody else. Throughout this entire process, I didn't know who was coming in, nor would the prosecutors tell you.
Yeah.
I can tell you emphatically that I have not been asked to come back on Wednesday.
Okay.
As of this moment.
When he says he was speaking with you and advising you, was he your lawyer at the time?
No. In fact, there's so many things about his statement which is untrue. First and foremost, that I reached out to them. I didn't know Bob Costello from a hole in the wall. In fact, the senior partner of the firm, Jeffrey Citron, is the one who introduced us and said, we should speak. And so we set up a meeting. They came. I think either they brought me a retainer or they said they were sending one or a letter of engagement. I never signed it. He was never my lawyer.
So he was not at that time your authorized lawyer. Then he says separately, you did, he says, waive attorney-client privilege. Is that true?
That's another one. If in fact that I waived attorney-client privilege, I'd like to know when, how, where. I don't recall waiving anything, but again, this is I don't know what he's talking about.
Did you sign anything when you were dealing with SDNY like that?
Not that I recall, no.
All right, let's play this part.
Yeah.
This is, and by the way, he's got his point. You get to respond. Let me play it, then you'll respond. Because he says, oh, this was, quote, stupid, etc. Let's listen.
They notified me that Michael Cohen had executed a waiver of the attorney-client privilege for reasons I have no idea. Frankly, it was a very stupid move by Michael Cohen, because now we're able to tell the truth about what Michael Cohen was saying at any point in time starting in April of 2018.
Dude, this is like liberal media react meta. Yeah. Is Cohen a leftist? Why did you go on his pod? I go on people who I disagree with all the time, and it was for the memes for the most part. I thought it was like funny.
So that's why I wanted to get those materials that I gave to the U.S. Attorney's Office and sat for a 2-hour interview with them back in 2019, after which, you may have noticed, the Southern District of New York didn't do any business with Michael Cohen. There's a reason for that. He's totally unreliable.
You get the benefit of responding.
Yeah, so the reason the Southern District of New York didn't do anything with me is because of, just read Jeffrey Berman's book, and you already know the answer, that they were being pressured by Maine justice within which to do things. Bob Costello, if he was any more imaginary in the statements that are coming out of his mouth, he'd be a #1 New York Times best-selling fiction author. I don't know what he's talking about in terms of signing anything with the Southern District of New York. I'd like to see it. Now, if in fact that there was something that was signed, perfect. I will own the fact that I'm making a mistake, but I don't recall signing
don't remember
any.
that.
I do not. Not to mention, let's not forget, the Southern District on a Friday night contacted, after meeting with my lawyer at the time, not him, he was never my lawyer, and told me that you have to come in on Monday and plead guilty, or we're filing an 80-page indictment that's going to include my wife. So I don't know when he's talking about this meeting that I had with the Southern District of New York. I would like to know the answer.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, and this is something that, again, is worth responding to once. We're not going to be airing it over and over. But you and I know, as lawyers and the experience you've been in, there are people who face very serious pressure. That's why it's called pressure. And whether what they say under pressure is 100% true forever or a sense of their anxiety, I don't know. Here's what he said about that, because you're reminding folks that there was this idea that they were going to try to go after you and your family, et cetera. Here's what he said, and it includes, again, and I want to say this as respectfully as possible, because there are people who do have mental health challenges, or they do talk about suicide. That alone doesn't mean you're not reliable in a case. But this is the allegation he makes.
April of 2018, April 17th, I believe, we met with Michael Cohen for the first time at the Regency Hotel at his request. Michael was in a manic state. He told us that he had contemplated suicide, that he had been up on the roof of the Regency.
Okay, I got to say something here. Like, I mean, one, this guy is cooking Michael Cohen. And Michael Cohen himself is really not reacting that hard. Like, not to be a guy who says, like, maybe react a little harder, forehead, but, like, honestly, react harder, Michael Cohen. Like, what the fuck's going on? What is this? What is this? I mean, there's an art to this. MSNBC is trying to do what I do, okay? And quite frankly, it's not working, okay? There's an art to what this is, okay? A lot of people don't understand the work we put in. Like, for example, making in an order for a sweet green salad in between the MSNBC clip. You know what I mean? This is not easy. Not everyone can do it. But I can. There's an art to running the top of the hour ad break in between moments and pausing and acting like you didn't actually forget and that you were reminded by glancing over at the chat. But still, it doesn't matter. Fuck you. That still debated you regardless. And now everyone is going to say 3 out of 10. But it doesn't matter because we all know in your heart of hearts that it was a 9 out of 10. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can serve the top of the hour ad break and then tell you that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. while simultaneously logging my calories in from last night because unfortunately Chipotle was closed by then. So I had to order Chick-fil-A. Homophobic chicken. That's right. I had that. I fucking had that shit, dude. Straight up. I'll say it. I'll admit it. I had some homophobic ass chicken last night and quite frankly, thought. Want to know where I had that homophobic chicken? In the motherfucking bathtub, sitting in Epsom salt. Sauce, Chick-fil-A and Polynesian, you know it. Very confused MB, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Infinite Ryman, not infantryman. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads as well. Oh, chicken in the bathtub is slutty. I am the biggest slut.
Hotel the weekend before, seriously considering jumping off because he couldn't face the enormity of the legal problems he knew were coming his way.
Is that true?
Well, parts of that are
Replay
actually
it
true.
back.
I was incredibly distraught. Remember, I have never in my life had an issue with law enforcement. Actually, one time in 1985, I was driving back to college. I was going 13, 14 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I got a speeding ticket, the one and only in my entire life. Other than that, I've never had run-ins with law enforcement.
Yes, so let me put it like this. I mean, it almost seems like in that pressure, you shared or confided in Mr. Costello.
Yeah,
and now he's trying to say that because you were stressed.
Bro, this is literally like Twitch streamer drama, but like with actual legal consequences, like legal implications, and related to the fucking president. I'm like losing my mind. Michael Cohen is like, you know, Michael Cohen is like saying like, you're leaking the DMs. I confided in you when I felt in my weakest moment. That doesn't make me a bad fucking witness in this situation. That doesn't make me a bad character witness. That also is really fucked up. And not only that, but also, can you give facts for once? Like, can you, instead of, you know, claiming that I did something, can you show me the proof of where I actually waived my attorney-client privilege? So that, and the other guy's like, no.
And I think we can all, everyone could, you know, judge not lest you be judged first, but people get stressed out. He seems to be trying to use that against the rest of your story. Is that fair?
No, it's not. In fact, it's a typical Donald J. Trump play out of the playbook. Figure out how you're going to muddy the water as best as you possibly can. Denigrate the person, disparage them. They did the same thing to Cassidy Hutchinson. They did the same thing to anyone and everyone that is for the truth. And the beauty that I have is I have facts, I have truth, I have the documentation. Let me rephrase that. The district attorney has the documentation in order to validate every single statement that I've made and to basically dispel anything that Bob Costello has to say, which is probably, again, why they didn't need me for rebuttal.
My last question on Mr. Costello's approach, and then I have another factual piece. When you watch that, what does it make you think of him?
Well, I think he's a clown, which is exactly why after the repeated attempts to get on my legal team or to be my attorney, which of course is all directed by Rudy and those that be there in Washington, D.C. at the time, I had no interest. And there's even statements of me hanging up on him, and we had some arguments on the phone where I want to be left alone by you.
So you think Mr. Giuliani and others may have been trying to use him to play like he was on your side and then use that against you, which seems like part of what he's doing today.
Yes, it seems like it to me, too.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll mention, and you know how we are around here, Mr. Costello's invited on. And if he wants to come to the table and speak the way you have.
And so he should.
I've invited him on that. Here's the factual claim he makes. Maybe factual, maybe not. But he, like Mr. Tacopina, argues that basically you were out here just doing.
This part is so boring. Like, I don't understand. Okay, let's watch this. All right, let's get to the fucking content, baby. Let's get to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Donald Trump. Okay? Settle your fucking Discord call beef in the Discord, okay? Maybe do it in front of a public audience. Maybe do it in front of a live audience. Ari literally is over here acting like XQC, being like, come on, dude. Do it on stream, dude. That's what he's saying. Okay. I'm going to keep using a lot of like XQC train wrecks analogies, I think, today. This is working in my favor. My man is glistening. He looks so orange. What the fuck happened, dude? Holy shit. Let's take a look.
These 4 horrible, radical left Democrat investigations of your all-time favorite president, me, is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country. It's gone on forever with Russia, 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 and Ukraine, 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 and the Mueller hoax. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on. They even spied on my campaign. And remember this, with all of the work that they did on Mueller, no collusion. That's what the answer was all no collusion. Whether it's the Mar-a-Lago raid or the Unselect Committee hoax, the perfect Georgia phone call, it was absolutely perfect, or the Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion plot.
Wait, Stormy Horseface Daniels? Like, I don't get it. Like, you fucked her, right? Wait, that's like a self-own, isn't it? No, like, I don't understand. Wait, what? Yes, folks. I ride horses, and I pay money to fuck someone I now call Horseface. I fuck the horsiest of faces. What does that mean? Ain't no way she gave Trump a buccal fat removal. What the fuck? Bro, this is unleashed, dude. This is insane. This is so unhinged. The most unhinged thing ever. When they make Trump sexy like that, it blows my fucking mind. Like,
They're all sick, and it's fake news. Our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know that we are the only ones who can stop them, and they know it very strongly. And they're looking at the polls where, not me, but we are up by so much. They can't even believe it.
holy fuck. All right, that was loud. All right, it's time. I miss him so much. Yeah, I mean, me too, man. Me too. Fuck. How many times do you think he tried to read the teleprompter for that video? I don't know. He looked like he lost a lot of weight and kind of hot. Oh my God, you are so horny for Trump. You motherfuckers are hornier for Trump than I am, dude. Holy shit. You said he looked kind of hot? That's wild, brother. That's like, you should have kept that in the drafts. You know what I mean? See, this is one of those moments where like there's on the one hand, you know, on the one hand, got a bussy, but on the other hand, you don't have to go overboard.
We're joined now by someone with an intimate knowledge of how things work inside the Manhattan District Attorney's office, and that is Jeremy Salan. He worked as...
Bro, I swear to God, like, the CNN coverage of this shit is so boring. Like, it's just so incredibly fucking boring, dude. Like, they're just like, this is the reason why they have to do it. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, just, dude, just put the fucking camera on the most psychotic right-wingers you can find, and let's just watch it. Like, I don't care about the real situation at hand. Okay? Yeah, Trump did, like, hundreds of fucking crimes, okay? He does more crime from the moment that you wake up and get out of bed. Before you get out of bed, Trump has already done multiple crimes. Okay? He's doing crime all the time. That's kind of his shtick. As a matter of fact, he's so open about the crimes that, like, people literally defend him on it. He's like, at least he's just, you know, at least he's honestly dishonest, right? That sort of thing, right? And here at the Hasanabi broadcast, we love crime. We are big fans of it, okay? Part of the reason why we're big fans of Donald Trump. So I just want to see funny shit. I don't care about, like, a guy who worked at the fucking Manhattan district attorney's office and how, like, the intricacies of whatever. Yeah, here's my mind. I've made up my mind on this. I talked about it already. Do I think it's fucking a marginal thing to hit Trump on? Absolutely. Why? Because in the overall grand scheme of things, Trump has done so much worse shit. Will I still celebrate it if he goes and gets arrested? Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay? Absolutely. It's awesome. It's funny as fuck. Stop like getting into the dumb like weeds of things and the drama and whatnot. I don't even think this has like, this doesn't have informational purpose. It certainly doesn't have any educational value, but it doesn't have any like informational purpose either. Like it serves no purpose.
Assistant district attorney in Manhattan for 7 years before current DA Alvin Bragg's tenure. So happy. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. So listen, we heard yesterday from Mr. Costello. We heard from Mr. Cohen as well. Michael Cohen was expected to go in yesterday to rebut what Costello said, but prosecutors determined somehow it wasn't necessary. Does this speak to anything that we should be looking forward to in the future, that possibly what Costello actually had to say didn't affect what Alvin Bragg and his investigators believe about this investigation?
Well, the grand jury has the right to call a witness. So they very well say, today we want to hear from Michael Cohen or hear from another witness. They have that ability to call for whatever testimony they think is important.
Yeah. I want to play this. This is what Costello had to say about Michael Cohen after testifying yesterday. Watch this.
The only thing I'm doing is trying to tell the truth to the grand jurors. Listen, if they want to go after Donald Trump and they have solid evidence, so be it. But Michael Cohen is far from solid evidence. This guy, by any prosecutor's standard, and I used to be deputy chief of the criminal division in the Southern District of New York, I wouldn't have touched a guy like Michael Cohen, especially if he's a convicted perjurer.
Listen, Michael Cohen did plead guilty, right? Went to jail. But also, Robert Costello has credibility issues as well. He's mentioned in the Mueller report his role in this whole hush money investigation and cover-up as well. He has credibility issues. So why on earth would they call him to testify?
Everyone's going to have credibility issues sort of when you're in this arena. There's a term swamp that's been thrown around, but if you're going to get evidence against those who are involved in these allegations, that's what you're going to get. You're not going to find a choir boy. You're going to find somebody who's immersed in it, and those people, unfortunately, may have some baggage.
Yeah. So we've heard from, at least the reporting is that Stormy Daniels, right, has appeared before the grand jury, at least by Zoom. Not sure if there's testimony, but saying that she would be available, she and her attorneys, that she would be available. We've heard from Michael Cohen. We've heard from Robert Costello and others. This appears to be wrapping up. Everyone wants to know when it's going to happen. What is the timeline? Is it going to be today? Is it tomorrow? Is it next week? Having worked in the DA's office, is it possible to put a date or a time on that?
Within reason, there is. This is an ongoing investigation. It's not a reactive investigation. It's proactive. So the DA's office should really know at this point, and in fact, well before, who's going to testify and what, if anything, is going to happen to throw that off course. So I'd expect that they should be summing up or wrapping up soon. And then once that happens, it becomes a procedural issue. The indictment is filed, and ultimately they reach.
You okay? I want Democrats to be slimy. I want Democrats to be gross. I want Democrats to behave like Republicans. Does that mean that they're going to do anything like that materially benefits working class people? Of course not. But at least it'll make it a little bit more fun. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a Democrat, I'm behaving exactly how the Republicans did. Non-fucking stop. Non-fucking stop. You know what I mean? Like, remember what they did with like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham himself. He was a part of the fucking Bill Clinton impeachment, you know? Bill Clinton cop dome in the White House, that's like unacceptable. All this shit. Like, come on. Behave like that. Look at like every single instance where like Republicans have manufactured outrage and just like do the same thing.
Reach out to the team for.
Also, if Donald Trump goes to prison, he has to tweet. Okay? That is my only like one rule that I'm putting on it, okay? If he goes to prison, he has to always tweet. Like Andrew Tate, you know, he's always like, in the darkness, have I found the light? I'm fighting ghosts. I'm shadow boxing. You know, that sort of thing. Like, I want Donald Trump to do that from prison. It would be so sick, I think. Like, that would be so much content. Because at this point, it's like, it's just about content. I'm in it for the content.
For Trump to take those next steps.
You say wrapping up soon. So what are the considerations now? If you're looking at someone who has insider knowledge, if you're looking at what is playing out, seeing Costello and Cohen, et cetera, go in. What is happening inside of the office right now?
I expect that all the evidence that they've wanted to present, they meaning the district attorney's office, has been presented. And if anything, for lack of a better term, rebuttal or to clarify or to bolster, if that's the right term we want to use here, the credibility or what may have happened, that's going to come out now. But again, it's the grand jury's determination to decide what witnesses, if anything, they want to hear. But once that's wrapped up, the DA's office is ready to make those next steps.
Jeremy, is it the grand jury's determination? Because the grand jury vote to indict Donald Trump and then Alvin Bragg say, even with that, I'm not going to do it?
Once a grand jury indicts, or what's we call a true bill, they have to take that next step. Ultimately, the DA's office can decide what they want to do going forward, but once there's an indictment, it has to proceed.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This investigation has been called a zombie case. Everyone thought that after Cy Vance, that nothing was going to happen, that nothing would happen for so long under the current DA, Alvin Bragg, nothing happened. So what happened? How is this resuscitated or resurrected?
Well, the argument from the DA's office is that it wasn't resuscitated. It's been going on all along. It's an ongoing investigation. These things don't happen overnight. It takes time to develop. There's those who will argue that there was political pressure with the Pomerantz book and what's happening sort of socially. But the DA's office will take the position that we've always been doing our due diligence. This is about justice. This isn't about politics. And now we're at the point where you have to move it forward.
Yeah. If you're looking at this, people are expecting, will Donald Trump be handcuffed? Are we going to see him in a jumpsuit and what have you? It doesn't really work that way, especially when you have a high-profile defendant. Unless he wants to be paraded in front of cameras, there are means and efforts to sort of mitigate that, possibly going in, probably through an underground entrance and having this sort of expedited about him. My reporting is seeing a judge and doing it quickly, having the process play out quickly so that he doesn't have to be photographed or seen doing any of these things.
Well, he shouldn't be photographed once he's inside the building. But
Bro, oh my God, please prep walk him. Dude, holy shit. Perp. I have something wrong with my brain. I said prep. I think it's because I didn't sleep enough last night with your mom. So like now, I just have something wrong with my brain. I'm like saying the wrong words over and over again. Did you see the AI generated perp walk images? Bro, I posted them on my Instagram.
But he'll be taken in like
except for a mugshot.
Well, that absolutely. He'll be taken in. There will be a mugshot. There'll be a fingerprint. And then they're going to expedite him and walk him to the courtroom. He'll have to walk down the hallway unless for some reason they decide to bring him up through the judicial areas. So there's a separate set of elevators he can come up through. But otherwise, he's going to be brought in like anybody else. And to your point, he may very well want to be seen. He very well want to make this an issue that there can be a public showing or display where he can make sort of a statement. But in court, I would expect he'd be relatively quiet, and his attorney will be doing most of the talking.
So you think they'll expedite the court process of seeing of the judge part of it, right? Because that can take some time.
It can take some time.
You say, like, come on, bro, I already stole those. Yeah, bro, some artificial intelligence generator worked really fucking hard on that, dude. And then I stole the meme. Who am I supposed to credit? A robot? Like, what am I supposed to do there?
Time, but they have to wait for the fingerprints. They, meaning law enforcement, has to wait for the fingerprints to get back. But yeah, it should move pretty quickly and efficiently. There's no reason to keep him there.
Steals Mid-Journey AI memes, by the way.
Obviously, the NYPD has.
Are we talking hours?
Hours from the time of print, very well, potentially. But once he's in front of the judge, that's pretty quick. I mean, I wouldn't say snap of the fingers, but it could be a matter of minutes.
Let's get back to it. How did the NYPD's preparing for a possible Trump indictment?
Shimon Prokupez. Shimon, what more can you tell us about the timing regarding the potential indictment, and how is law enforcement preparing for such a potential moment?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different dynamics at play here, Pam. When you think about, you have a former president. Never before in the history of our country have we seen a situation like this. Then you have potential protesters. You have the fact that law enforcement is thinking about what happened on January 6th and what they may have missed back then. And so all of that is factoring into the decision making that's going on here from federal law enforcement to the New York City Police Department, state and other federal agencies who have all been in meetings for the last several days. One of the things that certainly is very concerning was the posting, the social media posting by the former president, sort of calling on his followers to take to the streets, to take action, that he was going to be arrested tomorrow. We're getting indications that that is actually absolutely not true, that the soonest, so the earliest that we could see the president, if he was to be indicted, and we don't know when that would be or if that would even happen, would be next week. That's what law enforcement is working on right now, that his initial court appearance would be next week. So everything and all of that is playing into what law enforcement here is going to be doing in terms of increasing security around the courthouse.
47K watchers are in like 3 hours behind on the indictment news, bro. This is old news. Oh, this guy, read the tweet I sent you. You just had it open. Look at the tweet I sent you. You had it open. Dude, Terrible Posture is trying to get fucking clapped today. It's awesome. Like, what tweets has he sent me? Ed Krasenstein. Like, I know that, like, he's supposed to be indicted tomorrow. I know. But that doesn't stop you from being a petulant, annoying, pestering little fucking lib, okay? Sending me William Legate and Ed Krasenstein fucking tweets. Like, dude, you have to look at this Ed Krasenstein tweet. The only time you should be sending that to me, okay, which, by the way, spoiler alert, why the fuck are you spoiling what's going to happen in the rest of the fucking broadcast? What's next? Are you going to talk about the top of the hour ad break coming exactly on the dot at 3 p.m.? Huh? Is that what you're going to spoil next? Are you going to spoil that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe? What's up? You want me to give you the stream key? You can continue streaming? Huh? Is that what you want? Because at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free. You can also get gifted a sub. Is that what you want? Is that what you want me to say? You want to say that for me? Terrible Posture? Dude, you're just tracking the indictment and watching CNN. Wait, don't defend this. Come on. I mean, I'm lightly ribbing, but like, don't defend this by being like, dude, like Ed Krasenstein is the same valuable resource for news, breaking news coverage is like CNN. Oh, come on. Like that's, come on, dude. It's, this guy said no, actually. Anyway. 1010, by the way. Refresh again. Cy Nidlin, thank you for the 10 gift subs. And Tink, thank you for the 5 gift subs, allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Before I forget, I should run that ad break right now. The only Krasenstein brother whose opinion I care about is Ken Klippenstein, the third Krasenstein. Rainey draws a lot. Thank you for the 20 gift subs, allowing 20 people to no longer see the ads. All right, let's continue. Oh, here it is. Breaking. Trump to be indicted on felony charges tomorrow. Secret Service surrendering Trump to police next week. Yeah, I know. Fucking spoiled it.
Bringing in barricades.
Are you happy?
Bringing in more cameras. And, of course, bringing in the former president into the courthouse. That is the number one priority for the Secret Service, to ensure his security and that and sort of his arrival here at the courthouse, which could happen next week now. So a lot still at play as law enforcement tries to figure out the logistics of all of this and protecting the former president and obviously anybody who comes out here and the court staff and the people who live around here and work around here, Pam.
All right, so stay with us, Shimon, because I want to bring in CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director. So, Andrew, as we mentioned, over the weekend, the former president called for protests ahead of a possible indictment. What is law enforcement bracing for if he is charged?
Well, Pam, I think, if you're a security professional, a law enforcement professional, you have to begin by assuming that the president still has the same sort of sway and influence over his supporters that he did leading into January 6th. So they are taking...
I think we can all agree that this has been a bit of a dud, okay? Been a bit of a dud. The hogs are not hogging. They're not honking. They're not honking. It seems like they're honk-shooing and me-me-meing, as a matter of fact. Which is very sad. Sad to see. Did not expect it. Wanted to see more. Don't like the form that they're showing today. Okay? I put a fucking suit on for this shit, dude. This is tight. It's a tight-ass suit. Now, I know I look good, but I was expecting some motherfucking anger. Very sad. Very sad to see. Now, tomorrow is actually where Donald Trump's going to get arrested. So maybe then just maybe, we'll see some action from them. But
that
it's
many
kind of
would
fucked
argue
up
should
so
have been
far.
taken before January 6th. I'm sure they're looking very closely at social media. They're trying to understand if there's chatter out there online in those places where the former president's most extreme adherents go to exchange messages and things like that. I would expect that my former colleagues at the FBI are speaking to their sources of information and informants in those communities to tap into what sort of interest there is in convening in New York or any other place around a potential arraignment and charges. And New York is relying on their deep experience in crowd control. There's no place in the country that does it better than New York City. I'm confident that they'll be well prepared. They'll take whatever steps are necessary to avoid what we saw happen on January 6th.
Do you think, though, Andy, that he still has the influence to mobilize far-right supporters like he did on January 6th?
I think you have to assume that he does. I mean, this is a very different sort of event. I mean, the lead up to January 6th, the president and his supporters had many days to talk about coming to D.C. There was a date certain that they needed to be there. That all facilitates organization and transportation and funding for people who want to come in.
This is a huge point.
They also had the
Actually, this is okay. All jokes aside, I forgot. This is a huge point. A lot of right-wing protests, like an unimaginable amount of right-wing protests, is actually astroturfed. Oh my God. I'm having a come to Jesus moment. They didn't fucking astroturf this shit because the Republican Party doesn't give a fuck about Donald Trump. That's it. And the reason why there's like actual leftists over there is because leftists, jobless, broke, love protesting. Okay? They do. They actually protest all the fucking time. And they don't have like a astroturf. I mean, sometimes they might have astroturf protests, let's be real. But in many instances, they're not like backed by the infrastructure of the party, because a lot of leftist protests, it goes against the Democratic Party. That's why it's always funny when someone goes, oh, look at this anarchist sign. And then right next to it, they're saying vote for Joe Biden. It's like, that's idiotic. I think one part of it, or the main part of it, I'm thinking right now, the main part of it is definitely because January 6th actually created some genuine fear in the minds of a lot of people who thought they had a sense of entitlement, who thought the government is, of course, supposed to work for them. But I think another part of the reason is actually because a lot of these protests were astroturfed. And for those of you who don't know what astroturfing is, it's the opposite of grassroots. So grassroots funding or a grassroots protest means a protest that was genuinely put together by people, right? By a group of people who got together and said, we are like-minded on this issue. We need to go out and do something about it, you know? An astroturf movement, on the other hand, is like a subsidiary group or like a 501c4, pays agitators and protesters, or pays Turning Point USA, as a matter of fact, to bus a bunch of people into January 6th to the Capitol. That's precisely what Charlie Kirk did, as a matter of fact. If you remember, on January 6th, Charlie Kirk tweeted about how many buses he sent to the Capitol and then deleted that tweet subsequently. So that's the thing. I think that because the Republican Party infrastructure is not really interested in defending Donald Trump all that much, that they are not really putting any kind of like astroturfing support behind it. And that's why you're seeing some of the only psychotic weirdos that are genuinely behind Donald Trump go out there and put their lives on the line, I guess. In their opinion, they're putting their lives on the line. They're fighting against the police if it gets to that. Yeah. It's very interesting to think about, because for people who are saying, was January 6th astroturf? Of course, dude. So much of January 6th was still absolutely pushed, facilitated by Turning Point USA and other conservative groups like that, shipping people, busing people, helping people with logistics to get over to a certain place. Obviously, left-wing groups try to put that shit together too, but they're not funded by billionaires in the same way that TPUSA is. Right? Like the DSA LA right now is fundraising for strikes that are happening. currently, as we are speaking about this, the LA United School District is not in session. And the reason for why they're not in session is because the teachers, alongside with the staff members, have decided to do a strike, execute a strike, because not the teachers themselves, who do have a separate contract bargaining happening on the side, but the staff members themselves are not getting a fair shake. So while that strike is happening, there's needs for food and other kinds of necessities, which, by the way, I am funding as well. I'm working with DSA on that. But so there are, and I'm also planning on going to one of the picket lines, but unfortunately they do it before the stream starts. That's a whole different can of worms. We'll get to that in a little bit when I'm actually talking about the issue. But basically, like, that is grassroots funded because the DSA is not backed by like billionaires, right? It's backed by everyday people who are, it's backed by everyday people who are giving money to the DSA for the DSA to distribute it to, in the form of a fundraiser, give it to the striking teachers. So that would be grassroots versus astroturfed. So sometimes even a grassroots movement could potentially like fund the logistics. Okay, DSA LA leadership is racist. DSA LA have ignored black voices and ostracized them. Well, my friend, I would like to explain to you that I myself am a racist as well. I'm a racist guy. I only care about black liberation in the form of reparations, and also only care about black liberation in the form of allowing black working class people to have a life of dignity. So just, you know what it is. I am a racist guy who believes that, not only do black people deserve reparations, but also, I'm not saying you're racist. I just want to let you know, I don't care. You're a fucking wrecker, dude. Shut the fuck up. I'm talking about how a viable socialist formation is literally helping out not only white teachers, but black teachers as well. And you're trying to fucking wreck it. Suck my fucking cock. I don't give a fuck about your fucking dumbass perspective, you dumb motherfucker. All you do is chirp, suck my dick, become a fucking hater. I'm telling you, I'm a racist already. You might as well clip this and become a permanent fucking hater of mine. I'm done. I can't be charitable to you dumb motherfuckers. Don't fucking bra me. Don't. You know what you're doing. Do you work for the fucking CIA? Do you work for the State Department? Is your goal to undermine the efforts to fund a fucking strike fund? Because if it's not, then shut your stupid fucking mouth. Shut it. Why did you bring it up then? If it's old DSA drama, why did you choose to bring it up right now? Don't do that. There is no need for the CIA or the FBI. There's no need for capital owners to like create strike breakers. There's no need to beat anyone any longer. Because we do it to ourselves all the fucking time with this nonsensical sectarian infighting. Half the time it's just fucking bullshit. Shut the fuck up. And chat, don't fucking dogpile on that guy just because he's a fucking idiot right now. Notice how much more angry I get towards rad libs in the fucking left. Because that is still fundamentally standing in front of solidarity. Let's continue with how the NYPD is preparing for a possible Trump indictment. You want to see solidarity? There's your solidarity. The NYPD fucking loves Donald Trump, okay? They do. They endorsed him. They are in positions of power, and they love powerful people, and they will defend them at all costs. They don't give a fuck about sectarian, nonsensical bullshit.
Cover, if you will, of a legitimate, permitted assembly at the ellipse. So those are all things that don't really add into the mix here, which I think puts law enforcement and security professionals in a little better position, but they have to plan for the worst. That's their job.
There's so many questions, Shimon, that we're asking for the first time because of the unprecedented nature at play here. If this happens, is there any word in terms of logistics on how Donald Trump would appear in the courtroom if he is indicted?
Everyone expects him to appear here like any other defendant, right? So the Manhattan DA's office, when there's an indictment, they then notify the defense attorneys for the defendant, for the person who's going to be arrested, and that a person appears at the district attorney's office, which is just behind me, where they are processed, fingerprinted, photographed, and then they're brought over to the courthouse. Usually, the Manhattan DA's office, you know, they walk the defendant through the halls of the courthouse into the courtroom for all of us to see handcuffed. We don't think that's going to happen here, you know, for many reasons. But we certainly do expect that he'll be here. But I do just want to know one thing, Pam, that in terms of social media postings and threats, I actually spoke to a law enforcement official today who said they're seeing actually that things are pretty quiet on social media. Nothing like to the run-up on January 6th. They've been running down things. They've been sort of questioning people who are posting suspicious things.
I want to apologize to the chatter. Maybe he didn't fucking know what he was doing. Okay? I'm sorry for popping off. It just like incredibly frustrating. Okay? I just hope that people don't do that.
But so far, from everything that they're seeing, while there may be a lot of noise, there's not a lot of concern for them right now. Biggest concern is getting the former president here safely, and that is something that they're certainly working on.
All right, Shimon Prokupecz, Andrew McCabe, thank you so much. Well, sometimes lost in the headlines about the president, the indictment, or his party's reaction to all of this is the story of the woman at the center of this alleged cover-up, Stephanie Clifford, who goes by the name Stormy Daniels. CNN's Tom Foreman has all those details.
He had a hit television show. She was in adult films. He was 60, she was 27 when they met at a golf tournament in 2006, where Stormy Daniels says Donald Trump shared photos of his wife, his new baby boy.
And you had sex with him?
Yes.
And Trump has denied it ever since.
And to be bringing up that kind of crap and to be bringing up witch hunts all the time, that's all you want to talk about.
Born in Louisiana, Stephanie Clifford got into adult entertainment in her teens, taking the name Stormy. By her account, she thought Trump might help her get into TV. Instead, her allegations of an affair took over the headlines. A key claim, as Trump's 2016 campaign came to the wire, she says she was paid $130,000 to keep quiet about him. He denied any knowledge of that in the spring of 2018.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
But that same summer...
Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew.
Her story has seemed at times confusing. For example, at one point she signed statements denying any affair took place.
If it was untruthful, why did you sign it?
Because they made it sound like I had no choice.
I mean, no one was putting a gun to your head.
Not physical violence, no.
You thought that there would be some sort of legal repercussion if you didn't sign it.
Correct. As a matter of fact, the exact sentence used was, they can make your life hell in many different ways.
Further complicating questions now at the center of the legal case against Trump. Did the alleged payoff come from campaign funds? And was that a violation of campaign finance laws? Former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen, who went to prison over that alleged hush money, says yes, and that Trump knew about it. But others in Trump's orbit say no way.
That money was not campaign money. Sorry.
As for the former president, just days ago he leveled an insult at Daniels as he insisted once again, I did nothing wrong in the horseface case.
Why is CNN using the TMZ guy to do this voiceover? This is the weirdest CNN coverage I've seen. This literally reads like a People's Magazine YouTube video. Which is wild. Also, ironically, for the past week, everyone's been asking, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? Why is Trump getting possibly indicted? And the reality is, this is the first time that we've gotten a very clear timeline of events. This last TMZ-style sequence is probably the greatest Most concise summarization of the events that unfolded. Everyone's talking about all the dumbass bullshit. Fucking a porn star is the coolest thing Trump ever did. Why would I hate him over that? They're trying to put a player down, 1984. Straight up. It is true. It is absolutely true. Draft dodging and fucking a porn star consensually and then paying them is super sick. Both of those things are literally objectively not a bad thing. Okay? None of those things are a problem. What's actually a problem is like paying hush money and then also turning around and fucking claiming that like she has a horse face. Like, that's kind of fucked up, dog. And it also is kind of fucked up on you. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of owning yourself. You're like saying you paid a lot of money to like have sex with someone who you now are calling a horse face.
Never had an affair with her. Witch hunt. This story has been unwinding for years, and it is now full of many twists and turns. But it may finally now be time for a court to sort it all out.
The possible indictment of the former president puts the spotlight back on that period when the Stormy Daniels scandal broke. But this time around, don't expect Melania Trump to be particularly supportive of her husband. Here's Ann Mercogliano.
Melania has told Donald Trump, "This is your problem, you fix it."
Dude, this is literally TMZ. Oh, I love it. It's so stupid.
Stephanie
Okay, Elise is... Whoa.
who served as Melania's chief of staff and White House press secretary, says the former...
Bro, what the fuck? I thought her face looked like it was like widened. Like a yassified widened face. Is this Entertainment Tonight? No, but they're behaving like it is, which is awesome because this story is like ultimately not all that serious. But I'm enjoying it because, well, I'm not even enjoying it as much. Because like I got all ready. I got fluffed up, puffed up, you know what I mean? Wearing my fucking suit, thinking that like we're at least gonna watch some hogs cry and like get upset. And they didn't even leave their houses to go out and do something. Now, I know tomorrow is the actual supposed possible indictment, arrest, whatever. But they're not doing nothing. They just did a bomb call. Like, that's it. They did a bomb threat on the courthouse and just called it a fucking day. Like, that is... I wanted to see Hogs having a panic attack, dude. And it does seem like they are not going to give us that good shit. It doesn't seem like it. I'm a little frustrated. I'm not going to lie.
First Lady isn't planning to stand by her man if he's indicted over hush money payments to Stormy Daniels.
She's not lending him a whole lot of moral support, and I'm sure she's still thinking about, you got yourself into this mess. I'm certainly not going to stick around and walk beside you and support you as you try to get out of it.
Do you think that we would see Melania in court showing her support for him?
I would be very, very surprised. I would be very surprised to see her in court because it has to do with Stormy Daniels. It's just not.
Bro, she got some Nancy Pelosi's on her. Fuck, I'm sorry. That escaped my mouth. I'm not supposed to say that.
In her to stand by her man for something like that.
Did she ever express shock or disgust that he would have had an affair?
I'm sorry.
She, I think like many wives, was more disgusted than anything. She always said to me, this is his problem.
In 2018, when Melania was living in the White House, she ranted about Stormy in a phone conversation secretly recorded by her close friend, Stephanie Winston Wolkoff. It happened when Melania learned that Stormy had a photo shoot with legendary photog Annie Leibovitz for Vogue, the world's top fashion magazine.
Annie Leibovitz shot the porn hooker.
What do you mean she shot the porn hooker?
Stormy.
Shut the up. For what?
For Vogue.
Trump ally Robert Costello testified before the grand jury yesterday that hush money payments made by his former client Michael Cohen had nothing to do with the 2016 campaign, but because Cohen wanted to stop Melania from finding out about Trump's affair.
I said, why would you do that? He said, because I wanted to keep this secret. I didn't want Melania to know.
Meanwhile, Stormy Daniels is riding out the storm with her new husband, former porn star Barrett Blade, at her horse farm in Florida. She tweeted she is giving Trump a ride straight to jail. I spoke with her friend, Alana Evans.
Does Stormy want to see Donald Trump go to jail?
Stormy would like to see this end with him in jail. He called her horse face. She's absolutely.
I mean, that's not the only reason. It's one of many reasons that would be funny for him to go to jail, but it's just great, dude. I love, please, just give us something. Give us something. I want to see Trump like upset or something. I don't want to see some fucking hogs that are upset.
Absolutely beautiful. She's stunning. She's intelligent. And the things that came out of his mouth were pretty nasty.
Trump denies having an affair and any wrongdoing.
It's like he denies having an affair, but then he also admitted that he paid hush money, which he only found out later, I guess.
And today, hundreds of...
And it's like, okay, so why did you pay them hush money? To like quiet what? That you didn't have an affair? Anyway, the real update before we move on from this, before we get to the Los Angeles strikes, here is Ali Alexander.
I'm going to say this.
Here is Ali Alexander, everyone's favorite fucking, Habsburg-jawed weirdo, American domestic terrorist, white supremacist domestic terrorist, the Crimson Chin. He did a live stream on Telegram over the weekend in which he assured his followers that Trump is not the Antichrist. How does he know? I think that if Trump has to be begging for a protest, he's not the Antichrist. I think he looks really pathetic right now. When you lose the Ali Alexander vote, I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to say this. I think Trump lacks the muscle to be the Antichrist. I think that if Trump has to be begging for a protest, he's not the Antichrist. I think he looks really pathetic right now.
Except he's not wrong. Trump is looking kind of pathetic. But also, indictment watch. By the way, look at like how little even resistance liberals care about this shit. Like William Legate posted this. It got like what? How many likes did it get? 700 likes. That's crazy. This is like where this shit's supposed to be popping. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. Fake socialist wearing $10,000 suit. Your mom likes it. I am wearing to fuck your mom. Please understand that sometimes as a person of notoriety, you get sent a lot of free shit that's like really expensive. So just like remember that next time. I'm fucking your mom, and your mom actually sent it to me. Just kidding. She didn't, but I'm using it to have sex with your mom because your mom likes the suit. Where mama at is what I said, and your mom said, I'm right here, sweetie. Also, I'm your new dad now, and you're grounded for being mean and showing lip to your new dad. But yeah, look, I think this is interesting. This is interesting to see. It's like, it's literally like this community was geared up for it a little bit because like I said that Donald Trump's most likely not going to get arrested in a public showing, but at least we can get some content out of this. But like other than this community, it doesn't really seem like anyone gave a fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like the resistance liberals aren't even tweeting about it. Interesting. You ribbed me for 5 minutes after I sent it. I know this is the tweet you sent, dummy. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Ay, ay, ay. I'm using it in the exact opposite reason as to why you sent it. You sent it because you said it was a notable fucking news outlet. I'm quite literally, dude, oh my God, you're getting owned by Megaphonics. He said link perverts. Oh no, terrible posture. Oh no, Megaphonics hit you with a link pervert, dude. He's the OG link pervert in the chat, in this community. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh no, now you know. You got to go back. You got to go back to the shop and cook up you got to cook up way better links next time. My mega Bidenist Mima isn't even Facebook posting about it. Trump's really fallen all the way off. Yeah. You know, this is something I tell my friends all the time, and it bears repeating. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And it kind of feels like Donald Trump's reign is coming to a close here so far. Maybe that'll change after he goes back to doing public rallies or whatnot. But in a lot of ways, Fox News loved Donald Trump and MSNBC hated Donald Trump. And right now, it kind of feels like both parties are indifferent. That's very sad because here at the Hasanabi broadcast, we still love Donald Trump. And sometimes we hate Donald Trump. Now, we'll see what happens. Obviously, this is like not the biggest deal to make an ordeal out of course. But I do believe that he's probably very frustrated because he sees a diminished, significant lack of support. It almost feels like he cried wolf last time with respect to the FBI shit. Like the FBI and the classified documents, like where he was like, they're raiding me, this is a witch hunt, they're gonna fucking kill me. And that like kind of pissed off a lot of people, but I've seen very little momentum from his supporters. Is that everybody talking about it on truth.com? What you mean, bruh? Yeah, all 8 people, all 8 divorced dad pedophiles are talking about it on truth.com. They're retruthing it. They're truthing about it at truth.com. Like every single drunk uncle that has tried to fuck one of your classmates is on truth.com talking about how, you know, it's completely unacceptable that my family left me, and it's a reminder that Donald Trump is also being undermined by the family court, but not the family court, but instead the court of law, the attorney, the district attorney. You know, he's fallen off. You have to let go before he takes you with him. I will still love. I will still believe. I will still love. I will still defend. One other part of this story, the last part of the story that I wanted to also mention before we move on from this is that a bomb threat was called into the New York City court that was set to hear Trump's case. And even then, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are not paying a lot of attention to this. And these guys do fucking, bomb threats all the goddamn time. It's kind of weak sauce. It's weak sauce. Let's move on to some real news, though. 30,000 Los Angeles school workers are going on strike to support over workers' pay.
Thousands of students are unable to attend classes because of a 3-day strike in the second largest school district in the country. Support staff are leading this strike in Los Angeles, 35,000 teachers joining them in solidarity. The workers say that their salaries are so low that many are at risk of living on the streets. Carter Evans is covering this for us in Los Angeles. Carter, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. This is a school bus yard behind me, and as you can see, picketers are out in force here, and they're planning to be out in force around Los Angeles today. 30,000 workers for the union representing support staff like teachers' aides, bus drivers, custodians. They're planning to strike for 3 days. Also, teachers from the school district are planning to join in solidarity. So that means hundreds of thousands of kids will not be going to school for the next couple of days. Now, the news comes after failed negotiations between the district and the union earlier on Monday. The union wants a 30% raise. Now, they say average salaries for support staff total about $25,000 a year, and that puts many of them below the poverty line, especially when you factor in inflation and the rising cost of housing. The school district is countered with a 23% raise offer and a cash bonus and says the door is open to continue negotiations. Now, Los Angeles is the second largest school district in the country, so this is going to impact about.
Aren't LA teachers paid a lot more than support staff? LA teachers are paid more than the support staff, but LA teachers also are, actively showing solidarity, so the support staff get paid more. That's what's going on right now. The LA teachers are also, the LA teachers themselves are also, in talks, if I'm not mistaken, to also raise their salaries and maybe additional benefits as well. So, but this isn't the reason for the strike at the moment.
About 500,000 students, and in preparation for all of this, about 1,000 schools are going to be open today, but with no educational staff, so there's not going to be any instruction, just some supervision. Also here in Los Angeles, many families.
I mean, they're like not talking about some of the main aspects of this, but like the LAUSD is massive. It's the second largest school district. Is it largest or the second largest? Well, it's one of the largest school districts in the country, right? And one of the things is like they have $5 billion in reserve funds right now that they're not tapping into, and I don't really know why the fuck they're not doing that. Maybe it's because they want to pay the superintendent. I don't know if the reserves are where the superintendent funds come from, but as we know, the LA USD superintendent is getting paid $440,000 a year. That's more than Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, more than the governor Gavin Newsom. It's more than the fucking president, as a matter of fact. So, like they have a lot of funds, and it doesn't make any sense not to. Doesn't make any sense not to fucking put some of those funds to use here. But the guy that they put here from Miami, from Florida, is basically there to ensure that this kind of stuff gets washed away quickly. He'll say things like, "We want to pay them more. We are looking into ways of doing it," while never really doing that. You know, it's the entire purpose of people like that is high ticket fundraiser Democratic Party donors love also robbing the public education coffers and swapping those funds over to charter schools in an effort to undermine public education in general. So, that's precisely what's going on here. It's like one of the last bastions of socialization in the country is also being undermined. That's why you have a lot of these fucking freaks like Lauren Boebert or numerous others talking about how we need to abolish the Department of Education. Like, just really fucked up stuff, man. Really, really fucked up, terrifying shit. The EdTech for-profit company I work for is having tutors act as a scab and cover education during the strike via online tutoring. Many of us feel wrong about it, and I called out today a bunch of corporate bullshit. Their deposits are not reoccurring revenue, so it doesn't make financial sense to use. It's federal COVID relief funds, so they're going to disappear over time and they're not be replenished. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But that is just a in the meantime, we fund you using this reserve that we have, and then we put it on the fucking ballot. There's always dollars that you can also move away from one place to the other, for the record. I hope you understand that. Like, Los Angeles is not like California. The state of California is a fucking nation state, A pretty big one too. $5 billion goes a very long way. It would absolutely be enough to, at the very least, hold people over until they either, one, find a way to make more dollars work, take it from other places, or two, put a ballot initiative forward after that to either replenish the reserve funds or by directly funding a pay increase for the staffers inside of the LAUSD.
Good evening, UTLA family. We are in the middle of some fast-moving developments.
I'll just say it like this, though: a lot of the rich moms and dads that I know that do have their children, because they're in nice neighborhoods, they do have their children in public schools. At least for primary education, maybe not high school. Maybe they'll move over to a high school that's private because LA private is pretty big. They're very upset. They are not very happy with this. They're not happy with the UTLA. They think what the UTLA is doing is really fucked up. They're like, why are you showing solidarity?
Tonight, we connect in our virtual space on the latest news. Up top, I have to say how inspiring last week's rally was. We put more than 45,000 people in the streets of downtown Los Angeles. We dominated the media, and we even caused LAUSD to trend on Twitter. That's the power of UTLA and SEIU United. Shout out to all the members who carpooled together, who metroed together, and who danced together in Grand Park. It was great to see folks who brought their 2019 strike gear, including those tricked out umbrellas I remember all too well from our soggy time on the picket lines. We bring the power and that spirit of the 2019 strike into our work now. Tomorrow, Tuesday, SEIU 99 begins its 3-day UPC strike, and we begin our solidarity strike alongside them. Folks supporting the SEIU.
I'm asking this as a genuine question. Do you think in your utopia world will there still be incentives? Yes, there are a million different social incentives that will always exist. And yes, I believe some people should, of course, be paid higher than others for not for more hard work, but for the output. Okay? Especially in a transitional state that we're speaking of. Socialism in and of itself is about the value that you put in and how much more of it or how much control you have over that value. Not about like equally giving everybody the same for the I hope you understand and provide a reasonable and provide a reasonable answer. I mean, this guy's a 5-month subscriber. He's just like fucking around. I got duped into talking about that, but in your utopia world, get the fuck out, dumbass. I mean, hey, listen, it was an educational moment for a lot of people who maybe also had that question. Right now, people do not get paid off of how much profit that they generate or how much profit the company makes, okay? Or in general, when we talk about profits, okay, it is not considered. Like what to do with that profit would never be considered. Like the people that are generating that value would never have a say in how that profit is discussed or wow, my brain is blanking today. I am really on one. Holy fuck. Jesus Christ. People have no say in how those profits get distributed, okay? Whether it be more, whether it be like, you know, beefing up the marketing budget, whether it be fucking, whether it be increasing salaries, whether it be hiring new talent, all that sort of stuff. Okay? That is what people fight for. Unions are one way to at least have a seat at the table when discussions are being made.
Strike is the righteous thing to do. And it is also the strategic thing to do as well. Our solidarity strike is righteous because for far too long, classified staff have suffered with poverty, wages, and disrespect. Local 99 members are teaching assistants, bus drivers, special ed aides, supervision aides, cafeteria workers, campus aides, parent community reps, custodial workers, and more. Our schools do not run without Local 99.
What kind of other incentives might encourage future workers? I'm assuming everything not costing crazy amounts like rent and gas stops money from being as big as an incentive. Why? Like, what I do is not work because I love what I do, and it's you know, it's not for everybody, but it's for me, and I love what I do, and I think I'm very fortunate to be able to have this job. But it's not the money that motivates me to fucking stream 10 hours a day. There are other incentives there, okay? There are other incentives. You get it? It gives me a lot of fulfillment. Okay, I get welcomed by a community of like-minded individuals, like people that created. How did you say this lady has a lot of AIDS? Oh, they were making a fucking South Park style joke. Jesus Christ! I guess agriculture invented itself since there was no money in it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was addicted to streaming before I made money. It was not because like I was gonna make a fuckload of money. I never thought I would make this much money. Money isn't the incentive. Money is rarely ever the incentive for a lot of people who are passionate about what they do. The goal is to make sure that like you can pursue your passions when you don't fucking have to struggle to make ends meet.
The average salary of a Local 99 member is $25,000 a year. 24% of Local 99 members have reported that they don't have enough to eat. 1 in 3 Local 99 members have reported being houseless or at risk of becoming houseless while working for LAUSD. Keeping families in poverty affects our students and affects our schools. Their contract expired 2 years ago. They are demanding a 30% pay increase along with equity adjustments.
Bro, as someone who was fortunate enough to be able to find a place to live for free because of a second job that I took on when I first lived in California, and my salary was 21 grand. It is unimaginable to have a 25K salary in Los Angeles. That is insane, okay? I don't know how the fuck any of the, and that was like 10 years ago too. So that is mind-boggling to me. The fact that these people are getting paid 25 grand is mind-boggling. That is literally unlivable in like Alabama, dude. What the fuck? It's unimaginable. Unimaginable. Hasan looking so sexy in the suit. Totally not my type, but still hot. Like, I could totally see why people would want him badly, but like, not my thing. Thanks, man. These aren't teacher salaries, for the record. These are custodians and staff and you know, I guess special needs staff, like people that fucking drive bus drivers that drive the special needs kids, like shit like that. You know, still profoundly important, but it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, it doesn't even matter because like no one should be working a full-time job where the amount of money that they make is not a living wage. 25K does not even come close to meeting the bottom barrier of that. Okay?
Full-time hours and health insurance for those who do not have it. Carvalho, who negotiated a $90,000 increase to his own salary and who makes $440,000 a year, said Local 99 members were creating a circus by fighting for basic living wages. This strike is specifically in protest of the dozens of unfair labor practices that LAUSD has been committing against SEIU Local 99 members. Our solidarity strike is also
I also have a good propaganda point for this. Like, this guy's a Florida guy. Like, California has a lot of faults, okay? California has a lot of failures, but in many ways, despite being a neoliberal shithole for the most part, there are certain things that California does right? You know, whether it be like Governor Gavin Newsom posturing against Walgreens or shit like that, defending trans rights, things of that nature, right? And no, I don't mean California has a lot of faults like the San Andreas fault. Good one, though. So, you know, don't fucking Florida my California, bitch. I pay a lot of taxes, motherfucker, okay? All right? I pay a lot of fucking taxes. I don't want some Florida fuckface coming in here and making my California education system closer to Florida. I don't want that shit. Get the fuck out of here. As a rich guy, I don't like that, okay? Pay the fucking custodians more. What the hell is this bullshit? Pay a lot in fucking taxes. Why is that always going to the police force? Meanwhile, you fucking call the cops for anything, you're going to get put on hold. Let's be real. LAPD, always on hold, baby. Yeah, as a rich guy, yeah, I don't like that, you know?
Strategic move because it will help us win. This solidarity strike is one step closer for all of us getting a strong contract because it will show the collective power of worker solidarity in LAUSD in a way they've never experienced before. This is our opportunity to demonstrate that collective power in a way that will impact our relationship with the district for the Beyond Recovery contract demands this school year and the future of public education. Let's remember what we are fighting for: a 20% salary increase, lower class sizes, more.
Police departments are defunded. As a result, there's less cops for calls. This is what y'all wanted. Hey, man. Do you have what community? Do you have any idea what fucking community you're in? I think the police departments were defunded? Where? Point to me on the map where these supposed police departments were defunded. Especially in Los Angeles? Let me run that by you real quick. $8 million a day. Do you know what that is? Do you think that that's how much money I make? If you think that that's how much money I make, you'd be wrong. That's how much money the Los Angeles Police Department spends on the motherfucking daily. Okay? On the motherfucking daily. The police department budget is literally $2 billion. The Los Angeles City Council recently voted to cut $150 million out of the Los Angeles Police Department's $1.8 billion operating budget for the 2020-2021 fiscal year, says Cubano Kush, thinking that this is a good argument, thinking that I haven't even considered this. Oh, my God. That was off of the additional pay raises that they were going to get. That $150 million is off the tippy top. They already got it. Not only did they get all the fucking COVID money, okay, which was a fat fucking bonus for them. Not only did they also get additional funding on top of that, the only area where they shaved was $150 or $150 million instead of, I guess, an additional $150 million they were going to get on top of the additional money they're getting. So they still got a pay raise in their budget, just less, $150 million less, which seems like a lot of money. But, give or take, that's what, 15, 20 days in their budget? Think about that. They got defunded by $150 million while they were getting funded more. So their budget increased, just the part of the increase got shaved off a little bit off the tippy top. That is not defunding, you fucking dense. Oh, you were, okay. I thought you were, so the defunded police are in the room with you right now, so defunded. Yeah. They just didn't get as big as a pay raise as they wanted. LAPD is missing more than 600 officers for all area commands. Don't come at me with some fucking blue flu nonsense. These fucking fat piglets literally live in a different planet, okay? They got Norway-style social democracy for them and them only. You understand? Even before COVID and before this supposed defunding happened, which I just showed you that it never really happened, notice how you turned around and didn't talk about how the police are defunded, but instead talked about how there aren't 600 officers for all area commands. Why did you shift the goalposts over to how there aren't enough police officers now? Now, let me explain something to you. Cops were fucking dog shit at their jobs before COVID and before this supposed defunding that didn't really happen, as I explained to you. Okay? Some of them died from COVID. Some of them also quit their jobs because they didn't want to get a boo-boo on their arms because they were going to retire soon anyway. They all got their fucking fat little pensions. All right? They have all the money. They weren't doing a good job before the supposed defunding that never happened. And they're still not doing a good job. And they can just get away with saying shit like this. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry will be like, well, I guess there's 600 less cops over how many police are in Los Angeles Police Department? Okay, LAPD. What is it? Leo number. How many law enforcement officers in LAPD? 10,000 officers. And this motherfucker's talking about how 600 less officers are the reason why you're always on hold. How many more fucking officers do you need to stop crime? How many more dollars do you need? I've had 2 of my friends have their cars stolen. In both circumstances, the cops literally laughed at them and were like, yeah, sorry, dog. You're on your own. It's like, that's Grand Theft Auto. It's got a whole ass different designation for it because of the severity of the fucking crime. It's got a different designation. It's not like your iPhone got stolen, which would be technically grand larceny, but it doesn't even matter, right? Because nobody's going to chase after that shit. Get the fuck out of here. You think if it was 10,600, would we have enough cops on the streets? Or do you think these fucking fat piggies never work? And they know they don't have to because dumbasses like you will subscribe to a fucking anti-capitalist Twitch streamer for 5 months and still not get this through their dense-ass fucking skull and will do propaganda for them. Like you're a fucking Minnesota wine mom watching local news, hearing about how terrifying young black children are in the streets and how cops simply can't do anything. Come on, man. Whew, I love the stream, and while I agree with most of my viewpoints, LAPD, like many departments nationwide, have seen a lack of police due to a call for less funding and increased violence on peace officers. Suck my cock. That is fucking-sane, dude. An increased violence on peace officers? What are you, the fucking Leo PR guy here? What the hell? What violence? The violence of COVID? Or the violence of getting out of your fucking cruiser for once and actually chasing a suspect and dying from heart disease? Or is it the violence of throwing up the fucking lights every time you want to cut a fucking red light and getting T-boned by a truck? Motherfucker said peace officers, more like death officers, okay? What violence? Is it the violence of the vaccine? Vaccine injury violence. Brother, you have been propagandized. You have been lied to. You are doing the bidding of the police departments nationwide. Okay? We're not even fucking talking about how like violent and unaccountable cops are. Okay? I've moved past that point. Right now I'm just talking about how bad of a job they do all the fucking time. And how so many liberals turn around and let that shit happen. They go, oh, they need $4 billion and then this would be fixed. They need another submarine. And then they can actually solve crime. You know, nautical crime. Nobody ever talks about that. They need a 15th helicopter. They need better batons to beat the shit out of homeless people. You know what I mean? Crazy. Crazy. It's a well-known fact, especially in cities such as mine in Las Vegas. There's also less civilian staffing positions, e.g. dispatch due to low pay and high stress. Yeah. I mean, my lord, dude. It must be tasty, though. The boots got to be tasty as fuck. You know what I mean? Because I've never seen someone defend sucking on them this hard. Like, I think the LAPD already has 15 helicopters. I'm at 15 other helicopters. Yeah, I know nobody defunded the police. I know. Our analysis of over 400 American municipal budgets found that police departments in America got more or less the same amount of money in 2021 that they did the previous 3 years. The budget cuts that did pass in a handful of cities were modest compared to the size of the total budget. Notice how that guy, by the way, immediately shifted over and said there's not enough cops. And then notice how we started. He said police were defunded. Immediately said that's not true. Turned around and he said, well, actually, there's 600 police officers that are missing from the job for positions that they need, which is bullshit PR from cops. And I said, out of 10,000, you think 600 extra cops is going to actually, bridge the gap? Notice how he then turned around and said, it's actually because there's a call for less funding and increased violence on peace officers. So no real funding diminished at all, but it's a call alone that actually got cops to run away. And then turned around and said there's violence on peace officers, which is laughable. The goalposts are on a different planet at this point, okay? They've literally gone past California. They went all the way to fucking Las Vegas. They went to Nevada, okay? Yeah, their overtime budget is out of control. LA got the police budget, then put $47 million in overtime on the city's credit card. That was another thing. Overtime is the way that these motherfuckers make so much more money, too. If there's one point that I have been so consistent on, it is the violent crime has increased bullshit narrative, or property crime has increased bullshit narrative, and the defund the police movement destroy the police force narrative. I've been actively arguing against both of these fucking bullshit PR propaganda talking points that you hear from your local news all day, every fucking day. And you can shift the goalposts all you want. I know all the talking points, and they are all easily dismissible. Okay? Bullshit. And as someone who pays more for the police budgets than your dad did, okay, I think we should get something in return. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of work, guys. Do your job. Fucking do your fucking job, okay? Do your fucking job. When you pay $5 a month here, you get a top of the hour ad break and you avoid it. Simple. Imagine if you paid $5 a month and didn't have the top of the hour ad break get removed. Imagine if you watched ads at the top of the hour if you subscribed, which is a way that you can avoid the top of the hour ad break. Now, that would be bullshit. Subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime and you avoid the top of the hour ad breaks. It's that simple. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky, and you will be able to avoid the top of the hour ad break then as well. Another way to do this. But I digress. At the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. Regardless, here's the 3-minute ad break now. It's white fragility baked into a profession is fucking crazy. Yeah, man, it is crazy. I don't know any other job where there are people who are rewarded so greatly for being so bad at their fucking workforce, at their job. It's like mind-boggling to me. It's very frustrating. And of course, because they are defenders of capital, they get away with it. I would be in favor of other people being shitty at their fucking jobs and still getting their, honest wages. Gucci down to the socks, but he needs your $5. I don't. It's not a donation. I'm not asking for it. I don't even have my TTS on. Also, my socks are Dolce & Gabbana, also stolen from Dolce & Gabbana. The rest is Gucci, also stolen. Socks are Dolce & Gabbana, also stolen. But that's the 5-finger discount, baby. Anyway, what are the cops going to do? Arrest me? Anyway, I'm joking. Yeah, a lot of guys joking today. So, how do we get here? We got here because I was talking about the 30,000 Los Angeles school workers who are going on strike over support over workers' pay. The Los Angeles Police Department with overtime, the unimaginable amounts of money they get while doing pretty much nothing, sitting on their fucking thumbs and eating donuts and looking at their fucking laptops and their cruisers as they cruise through the fucking red light, beaming, okay? Making everybody's lives less safe. Those fucking dipshits get paid like 10x what the average fucking LA United School District staffer gets paid. It's unimaginable. It's so fucked up. Just steal a car and they will never find you. You say that, but like kind of true. It's literally true. It's happened at least twice, anecdotally, to 2 of my fucking friends.
China's leader Xi Jinping is continuing his high-profile
Hey, let's go.
visit to
Top
Russia,
Xi, top
where
Xi,
he's been
lads.
warmly greeted as an old friend by President Putin. Beijing's billed this visit as a trip for peace. Mr. Putin said that Moscow was always open to negotiation. But the Americans have already warned that China's negotiation plan on Ukraine could be just a delaying tactic. From Moscow, our Russia editor Steve Rosenberg reports.
Just 3 days ago, Vladimir Putin was named as a war crime suspect by the International Criminal Court. But that didn't stop China's president flying in and shaking his hand. Putin and Xi have met many times before, but never before has Russia's president been under such pressure. His war in Ukraine not going at all according to plan. Xi Jinping called Vladimir Putin his dear friend, his strategic partner. The Kremlin leader said they would discuss China's peace initiative. But there is no detailed Chinese plan to end the war in Ukraine. What Moscow would like from Beijing is lethal aid to help it win. Beijing's been reluctant to provide that to prevent secondary sanctions against Chinese companies. But it has been supplying dual-use technology, like semiconductor chips, that the Russian military can use. The Kremlin also wants to expand trade with China. With Russia under heavy international sanctions, economic ties with Beijing are proving a lifeline. If you burn bridges with the West, as Vladimir Putin has, what do you do then? You look east. That's exactly what the Kremlin leader has done. Recent events have accelerated Russia's dependency on China. Putin and Xi may speak about mutually beneficial cooperation, but Beijing looks increasingly like the senior partner. But Moscow hasn't just partnered with Beijing. Last week, Russia held joint naval exercises with China and Iran. There are signs the Kremlin is looking to forge an anti-Western alliance.
Putin is building his own bloc. He doesn't trust the West anymore. He's looking for allies and trying to make Russia part of a common fortress with China, as well as with India, Latin America and Africa. Putin is building his own anti-Western world.
Now, with Xi Jinping here, Russia can claim that it's not isolated, that Moscow has powerful allies who view the world through a similar lens, that it doesn't need the West if it has friends in the East. But experience shows China always puts China first.
Well, today the talks between the two men begin in earnest. Earlier, I spoke with our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, in Moscow, and I asked him how the visit was being perceived by the Russian.
Multipolarity is bad. Get fucked, Fukuyama.
You see the word drug, friend, in the headlines on a lot of the papers since both leaders addressed each other as dear friends. Earlier this week, there was a little bit of scepticism. Some commentators saying, well, look, the reality is that China will always defend its national interests first and put itself first. So, yes, you can talk about a bromance, you can talk about a strategic partnership, deepening cooperation between Russia and China. But I think people are open-eyed here and understand that China has its interests at heart first of all. And also there is an understanding that despite the talk of partnership and a no-limits partnership, this is not a partnership of equals anymore. That very much now, China is the senior partner.
Xi knows life of P is close to the end, so he's just preparing for the transition. Preparing the transition? Wait, what? Why would he defend him then? Wait, that makes no sense, Moldova. Wait, what? Why would he like even in any way, shape, or form like go out to bat for him then? I mean, he might be, okay? Like Vladimir Putin might be on the end of his rope, right? Like he might just be fucking dying soon, whatever. I don't know. Sure, hopefully RIP, you know, fucking smoking on the Putin pack or whatever, right? But like, how does that make any sense with respect to like with respect to like China going there and showing support now. Mama Liga just says things in the chat. Whenever Russia is brought up, he just says things.
Here that Russia is very dependent on China for diplomatic support, political support, and for economic support too. Russia needs Chinese markets since, Russia is under heavy international sanctions right now.
Well, for the view from China, let's go live to Beijing now and speak to our correspondent, Stephen McDonnell. Stephen, take me through the logic of this. Xi Jinping has problems of his own. He's under huge pressure to improve the economy. But China's trade with Russia is relatively small. So how is he improving matters by building up his relationship with Vladimir Putin?
Well, it's a good question. And in some ways, it could be making the situation potentially worse. And the reason is that the Chinese government here in Beijing has created this enormous expectation that this peace plan might work. Whereas I think most serious observers do not expect anything of the sort. They don't think that Xi Jinping is going to leave Moscow with a Ukraine war peace deal. And in fact, some would say that it's not even designed to do that. The Chinese government has actually been accused of using this as a bit of a smokescreen to enable the Chinese government to keep trading with Moscow, to keep supporting the Russian government mid-invasion in a way that's palatable. Well, now, at the same time as the day 2 of this state visit, we've got this surprise visit to Ukraine by Japan's Prime Minister. And if Xi Jinping leaves Moscow with nothing, comparisons are going to be made. I mean, people are going to be looking at those two leaders, where they chose to go to, what their priorities are. And I think
I'm confused as to what this commentary is saying here. Like there's no, here's what I don't understand. There's no there are no motivations that they're trying to fucking address. They're just literally kind of saying nothing. It just feels like they're upset and that they're just friends with one another. Like, what the fuck? Fuck it, I'm saying it. Xi's hairline is fantastic considering he's old. Yeah, the West really hates the idea of trying to help brokering peace between Russia and Ukraine. I don't even know if they're going to do that. I don't even know if China genuinely and enthusiastically is like advocating for Ukraine. And I wish I could know more about it, but I can't because fucking BBC is not telling me anything. Okay? That's the problem here. Do you get it? Like, you're supposed to be the news. Do the news, man. Do the news, fuckface. Do the news. Like I want to make an assessment, right? I want to look at the news. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to know what the conversations are about. And I want to know where the motivations are. I want to know what China's interests are. Other than reinforcing multipolarity, which I know we already know that, but they're not even saying this all that much. Okay? Now you know how us news Andes feel. Man, shut up. You get literally so much content. You guys are the fattest out of all of my audience. Okay? You looked good in this photo, not gonna lie. Oh, fuck you. How dare you? Don't listen to BBC. Well, who am I supposed to listen to? If I listen to America, they're saying the same shit. If I listen to Russia Today, it's sandwiched in between like how Vladimir Putin is defending the white race and how they're actually doing an action of anti-imperialism. Like, so I can't get anything there, okay? No, Russia Today is not good. Shut the fuck up, dude. Jesus Christ. Just because they have Chris Hedges and shit on doesn't mean that they're actually good, okay? You know Gucci and Balenciaga are owned by the exact same company, right? Okay. And? Wait, hold up. Let him cook. What's he going to say? I want to know. I want to know what else he's going to say. What does that mean? He's like, I just wanted to let you know. Actually, there's nothing else behind that statement. Just wanted to let you know. Fun fact. Guys, wait till you find out who pays my paychecks, dude. That doesn't bother you? No. I don't give a fuck. Really makes you think, man.
The person this really puts the pressure on is Xi Jinping.
Stephen, a lot of people have drawn parallels between Russia's invasion of Ukraine and just even the threat of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Are we getting any signals through what Xi Jinping is saying, what Beijing is saying in terms of how...
Okay, I spoke too soon. Now I'm wishing they weren't making inferences, okay? I take it back. The moment that they add color commentary on it beyond like vibes, they're like, oh, it's because they're definitely invading Taiwan like tomorrow.
Oh, China's viewing Taiwan at this point, whether it's actually considering an invasion or is it just...
I just want to let everybody know I will defend Taiwan, okay? I will defend it. I will put the Taiwanese the flag on my Twitter, okay? Like I got Chinese relatives, okay? They're from Taiwan. I'm going to fucking defend Taiwan so hard, dude. You understand? Like you don't unimaginable amounts of defense. Might want to avoid the invasion takes, brother. Bro, I'm not saying shit. Notice how I just said I would defend Taiwan so hard? On the front line, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning. I am resisting. I'm resisting. I'm learning. Winnie the Pooh, I'm coming for you.
Throwing those ideas out of the water?
Well, the most bleak possibility is that the Chinese government thinks that the war in Ukraine is actually beneficial to it geostrategically.
Taiwan, the country which was under military dictatorship and martial law, executed 150K leftists. Yes, that country. They all deserved it. I think Western China is a part of Taiwan. Shut up, dude. I'm not trying to get canceled again, okay? Yes, I think that was good. I love Shanghai Czech. Did I even say his name right? I respect it too much to even Google if I said it right or not. Yeah. Just say Winnie the Pooh and you'll win over every Twitter leftist? No, I won't. What do you mean? There's so many. First of all, there goes the China trip, dude. I don't fucking let me go to China. Ooh, let me go to China. You don't even understand, dude. And the things I will do. Holy shit.
And that's because Russia is doing its dirty work at the moment. It's really taking it up to the West. It's eating up NATO resources at a time when, as you say, China's considering the possibility that it may at some point want to use force to take the island of Taiwan. And so, like I say, there is a pretty dark scenario which would suggest that the Chinese government doesn't quite mind the war in Ukraine in that it puts all this pressure on the West. The flip side of that, though, is that the West has hung together more tightly than many would have expected. The war hasn't been going well for Russia, considering how long it's gone. And it might make some of the generals in Beijing think twice about what it might.
Why'd they got an Australian guy to fucking do China commentary on the BBC? He's sounding like fucking me trying to do the British trying to do a British that like slowly turns into Australian. China is unironically so sick, dude. No, I know. I want to go to a tier 1 city so fucking bad, dude. You don't understand. I will. That haircut is disqualifying. Straight up.
Mean for this country if they were ever to decide to use force to take Taiwan?
And Stephen, just briefly, how is this visit being portrayed in the Chinese state media and also on Chinese social media?
Well, lots of coverage, of course. We had the letter from Vladimir Putin published in the Renminbi, the main organ of the Communist Party, yesterday, but plenty of articles in state-run press. We've seen it on television here, on the 24-hour news networks, lots of pictures of the two leaders sitting down. Just like in Russia, all this talk of friendship, the two countries coming together. You know, if it wasn't for the war in Ukraine, people would think this is quite a normal visit. I mean, these two countries, they're neighbours. Sure, of course, they want to have good trading relations, and it wouldn't seem that strange. But the fact that both the leaders have been speaking about the war, about peace, that's what's put talk of this potential peace deal front and centre for this state visit by Xi Jinping.
Fascinating. It's great to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you very much, Stephen McDonald, speaking to us from Beijing.
Trump special counsel news dropped.
Joins us now. And John, we're dealing with two different cases.
Breaking news.
As far as this first one that we talked about here, if an indictment does happen tomorrow, what do we expect? How do we expect that to unfold?
Well, first of all, it's important to say, again, that we don't know if an indictment is coming. Much of this speculation is actually coming from Donald Trump himself, who's actually said he was going to be arrested today, and that didn't happen. But if it happens, he would be required to report to New York for booking, just like any other criminal defendant. And typically that would include things like fingerprinting and the taking of a mugshot.
And then with this other investigation, this federal investigation into the mishandling of documents, with this new order now coming down from the judge, what can we expect there?
Well, this process is going forward. There's much less that we know. These are all sealed documents. The significant new reporting we have tonight shows that at least one federal judge believes that the special counsel has provided preliminary evidence that suggests that Donald Trump committed a crime or crimes. And the reason why this is so significant is that the special counsel's investigation involves alleged crimes that are much more serious than what the Manhattan District Attorney is investigating. So this is really the thing that has Trump worried. In fact...
Wait, what the fuck? A judge ruled the special counsel has presented evidence that Trump may have broken the law in handling his classified docs. John Carl reports his probe involves alleged crimes that are much more serious than what the Manhattan DA is investigating.
Just minutes after our story hit, Trump came out with a statement, once again attacking the special counsel.
What the fuck, bro? It's like everyone's trying to be the first to cook him. Everyone's coming after him, dude. They all want the bussy. Oh, what the fuck? The walls are closing in. Oh, dude, it's so wonderful. You love to see it, dude. You love to see it.
Saying that these are, quote, false allegations.
And just to be clear, he's dealing with more than just these two.
The baby eaters are at it again. They couldn't get Russia to stick. Mueller couldn't bring him down. Impeachment failed. So now they're simply going to arrest him. Jesus Christ was persecuted by the corrupt government as well. Trump will overcome and bring down this cabal of evil. Honestly, I fucking hope he does, you know? Damn right, brother. Damn straight. Say it loud and say it proud.
Two investigations.
Yes. Yeah, there are in fact, two special counsel investigations. There's the classified documents case, which is what this is about. There's also January 6th and all the surrounding, his behavior and what he did on that day and leading up to that day. And also in Georgia, very far along is the Fulton County District Attorney investigating whether he improperly interfered with the election down there.
All right, Jonathan Karl for us, keeping you busy.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep track of.
Thanks so much, John.
Yeah, you know who else was arrested, dude? And wrote books from prison. Wrote a book from prison. Yeah, that's right. Adolf Hitler. Okay. Yeah, think about that. Wait, why are you in a suit? Because I'm looking dapper because I thought this was Trump's downfall day today. Even when it wasn't actually Trump's downfall,
Hey.
I still wanted to wear a suit and look dapper. Let's be real. I knew that it wasn't going to happen. Regardless, though. Regardless, I wanted him to get all the smoke. Anyway, bye guys.
crispy.